So then the next part of the trade needs to occur. There is a statistical guess that can be done with various information that provides guidance. So I need to populate and figure out what factors influence the traceability of stock. And that is, one of them is chart formation. That there's candlestick structure. And I need to figure out and define more of that in order to have a better statistical advantage of figuring out what the best strategy is. So essentially, the setups are based on proven and known candlestick formations. And those formations are, for example, head and shoulders, the flag pattern, and the cup and handle. Usually when a stock has significantly dropped down to a certain point, it has a tendency to recover because it has been in a condition called oversold condition or overbought condition. This is exactly what we're seeing today in Tesla today. Same thing with Nvidia. These are two stocks that were about to drop anyway. So looking at these conditions, then I have to be mindful of these particular conditions in order to enter a trade. So in order for me to enter a trade, I have to have certain conditions that must be met in order for me to enter a trade. And when those things are aligned, then I enter a trade. Then I'm going to discuss more about these in separate videos. I'm going to completely vet out and do some paper trading and then return to live trading. At this point, it does not make any sense to continue trading live because it's just costing money. There's no point. Trading is the future. It's obvious because I've been thinking about that. Is there anything else that I could do? But other things are equally very difficult. So once I enter a trade, then I have to be performing a trade management. If I have the trade beforehand thought out very well, surrounded by the possibilities, essentially the stop loss and stop gain, then it will just trade as is. Or there could be situations that are remote, but something that tells me that the trade could be more extreme to one side or the other side, and that means that I can essentially take the stop loss earlier, or if the reality is that stock gains are becoming more evident that it is going to be a greater gain, I can adjust the gain limit sale. So once these things are implemented, then what I can do is after a bit of time, then I can go ahead and enter a position where I can exit the trade. Also, exiting the trade has various things like reason for a trade, reason to sell, as there is reason to buy. These things need to be properly understood, and right now I have to admit that I do not understand this in a proper manner, and I've been trading for 20 years. So essentially what that means is I've been gambling for the past 20 years. Essentially that's what it means. So what I hope to do is to clearly define these things that allows me to enter a trade, manage my trade, and then exit the trade. That is the pattern that I wish to develop. So hopefully when I'm done with this, it'll be a W-shaped form, which is essentially is telling me that is the trading now will move in the right direction, which is up. Currently, my personal account has dwindled significantly. My FTM account has dwindled essentially to the lowest denomination, and that is the right place to be for now until I can prove otherwise in my trading capability that allows me to adjust my risk capital. Right now, it does not make any sense to go back into risking live money at this point, unless I clearly define these things that tells me that I can enter, hold a trade, and exit the trade. So trade management also involves certain features like time in the trade. If the gain is rapid or slow, should I add or if I'm in a heavy trade, scale out. These are something that I can think about later on as I become more seasoned trader. Until then, whatever I said in the past, it's just meaningless. So, reason to sell is a point where I can say that the trade has become essentially reason to sell is if trade becomes reversed, reaches or shows a significant candle formation. So these are things that I need to be mindful of. And so in order for me to keep track of all this, I have to make only one trade at a time. By trading one at a time, then I can have a better chance of making the right trades. And all these things involved is something that's been sitting in the back of my mind, which is far, far away from my subconscious trading. Subconscious trading, I just enter and I exit without even thinking about these, considering these things, without considering these things, without considering these things. When the trade goes in my way, I just wait for a certain point and I just exit without really applying the reason to sell principle. And when I'm losing, I just keep holding and holding and holding, and at a point where essentially it hits the limits of either the max daily loss or max loss. And so those two things could hinder my progress towards becoming considered profitable. So I need to consider scenarios in which case when I enter and the stock moves against me in a certain amount, I have to set to myself a certain daily loss limit. And once that daily loss limit is reached, I just need to exit and not trade again. That's the hard part. So that in itself is essentially reason to buy, then enter. Trade management, and then reason to sell and exit. That's what it is. But every one of these elements have several different layers of concepts that need to be understood and then incorporated into this day trading.